Hello, my Teaser King family. I am sorry I was away. Things happen, unfortunately. My friend from Florida, we had lunch, and then I had some errands to do. Now I'm back. I heard the Tigers played at 11 o'clock in the morning and lost. That was an over we missed. And we've got our gold and silver 48.17. Silver 79.74. All right. It's only paper, not physical. Why do I say that? Because it's only paper, not physical. I mean, the whole dynamic is different. Gold, on one hand, is in the physical world, a market only works if you put it out and see if it's bought or not, right? So if I put this ounce of silver out at $500 and somebody buys it, that's the market. If I put it at $300 and somebody buys it and more people want it, but you run out, the market goes up. If I put it at 500 and nobody wants it, then it's not worth 500. It's worth what somebody will buy it. However, that's not what the paper market is. It's the banks playing options. It's not me and you buying or selling, saying it's too expensive, it's not expensive enough. It's the banks playing games. Now, this is the futures market. This is COMEX. I'm going to trade in paper gold and silver. And as I said, there's 4.4 million tons of paper gold, but only 200,000 ounces of physical gold. So you can see the dynamic. If you wanted to trade in paper at 220 and that's all that can be, then you'd get an accurate price. How they're allowed to trade fake paper gold and silver is beyond me. Totally illegal. These people should be in jail. It is not legal. I don't care what Mark McGuire says. It can't be legal to trade ounces of gold and silver that you do not have. If you have it, that's totally legal. And that's where Mark misses it. If I have silver, so I want to trade this 1 ounce, that's legal. But I can't trade 10 if I only have one. I'm going to trade 10 ounces silver. You have it? No. What do I need it for? I'll just trade paper. That's totally illegal. You can't trade what you don't have. That's what a Ponzi scheme is. And that's what we have, and why it's allowed to go on, I don't know. They're doing it for price fixing in the 1970s, but that's over with. There's no price fixing anymore. That's gone. So very, very difficult to watch, but we know it's ending soon because who wants to trade paper? The money's worthless. The economies are crashing all over the place. I don't want to hold paper, gold, and silver. These banks aren't going to want to hold it because they're going to have to come up with physical, which they can't because it doesn't exist. And that's really what's going to happen here. Anyway, so let's look at our gold again. We got 78. I don't know what's wrong with my page, but well, there you go, 48.19. I got up to 48 and a quarter, just about 10 o'clock, just before the 10 o'clock drop, which took it down to 48 for no reason, and then it goes back up. I mean, the whole thing's just a joke. And here we got almost $80 silver, which should be $500. Again, it's the game they want to play, but it's not a legal game. It's a bank game. The banks run the government. That's what you have. All right. So let's take a look. This is weird. I just deleted all these and they're back. Having problems with my phone. All right, let's see what's going on today. So there was one game, Boston 8, the Tigers 6. Sonny Gray got hurt, pulled a hamstring or something in the third inning, and the Tigers pitchers suck. As I tell you, there's too many bad pitchers in the league. Boston's not hitting, and then they get 8 runs because of the bullshit. I didn't play the game. It was on before I knew to play it. So let's go through. We got 6:10. All right, it's 5 o'clock. We'll quickly go through yesterday's. I told you I went 11-1 yesterday, plus 17 units. What a day. And we start off with the Yankees 7-0. I had them for 3 units against Kansas City, who's lost 6 in a row. Washington 3-0. I think it's one of those I didn't play against the 49ers. Didn't play that one. Pirates 6-3. I don't think I played that one. Cleveland 8-4 against Baltimore, and I didn't play that one. See how good I'm getting is I'm avoiding the games I'm not sure of. Then we got Miami 5-3. I have Miami over 7.5, 2 units. That wins. I got Cincinnati 7-4 over the Twins. I got Cincinnati over 8. That wins. St. Louis 7-5. St. Louis has been hot. I get them plus 126. 2 units. They win. Houston's not playing well. I go to the Cubs 2-1 over the Mets. That was my 3-unit play, as the Mets have now lost 11 in a row. And it was 1-0 into the 9th inning, and I go, oh, okay, it's a Sunday. And then the Cubs won, and I knew I was going to have a big day. Colorado 9, Oakland, LA 6. I have LA over 11.5, and they played. But look at Colorado 9-6. They're keep an eye on them. They're not bad. Chicago 7, Oakland 4. That was my only loser in my better straight. Oakland minus 152 units. They had their hot pitcher going, and I don't know what happened. He gave up 7 runs to a White Sox team without a 220 hitter. It's amazing. San Diego wins 2-1. I have San Diego under 8.5. We have Seattle with Ric Flair going minus 133. They win 5-2. We have Toronto 10-4. I have Toronto minus 105 beating Arizona. Kevin Gausman had a good game. Detroit 6, Boston 2. I got Boston over 7. They got 8. I have Atlanta 4 and Philly 2. Atlanta, this is 3 units, and they win 4-2. Philly's now got a 5-game losing streak. Atlanta's got a 5-game winning streak. So the 3-unit plays I win. The Cubbies, I've got the Yankees and Atlanta. All 3-unit plays win. Miami over 7.5. St. Louis plus 126. Cincinnati over 8. We lose on Oakland minus 150. And then we hit Ric Flair, Seattle minus 133. Boston over 7. 11-1 in my plays. A couple of plays I didn't bet, but my bets were plus 17 units. So hard to beat that one. And then today, 420. It's Bobby Bo Day, as he's Bobby Bo 420. So I have, this is how you problem solve the game. Sometimes it works. Saturday didn't work at all. Saturday was a really weak day or Friday, I think one of these days. Yeah, Friday was terrible. It was 4 and 5 minus units, and then you just keep going. And the problem with baseball is the variables change all the time. So when the variables are changing, that's what you get. So we'll look at covers today. And we'll go to 420. All right. So the biggest variable you have from day to day, there's two. The biggest one's the pitcher changes. So you're never really facing the same team, right? You're facing Nolan Ryan, but you're only facing him once in the series. The other 4 games are against different pitchers. That's the first variable that's very difficult. And the second variable is if it's a righty, you face the left-handed lineup, and if it's a lefty, you face the right-handed lineup. So now we have to go third dimensional and understand the team against the righty and understand the team against the lefty and understand all their pitchers. That's why baseball is so difficult, those two variables. And, all you can do, like yesterday, I must have had the right matchups and I cleaned house. Where Friday, I didn't have the good matchups and I lost. So we look at the total, we don't look at a day. That's why when football, if I have a bad Sunday, you had a bad Sunday, it's like you got to look at the whole picture. You can't look at 1 week or even maybe 2 weeks or 2 out of 3 weeks. You might have bad weeks, but then you come back and 4 out of 5 are you really hit the ball out of the park. And that's why you look at me in total and not 1 game or 1 week. Like our friend who, you lost, I lost on your, not even on your lock, on your second rated team, they lost. Okay. So, but that, you can look at my Friday and go, you lost, but then you look at my Sunday and I go, well, fuck, he was 11-1 with 17 units. Which one am I getting? You're getting a combination of both. But in the whole picture, we're up. And that's what you're looking at is we're up. You just keep going. Now, if I give you yesterday, I gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 plays, and I go 8-1 in my plays, 11-1 on the games I don't even play. So you go 8-1. That's so you bet it, and I had 3 units in there versus the rest were 2 units. So all the 3 units went. And then you just keep going. That's why it's bankroll. That's why you want to bet a little bit more on the 3 unit than the 2 unit, and off we go. And that's the key to betting is you must have a strong fundamental. I'm going to lose some games. You're going to bet and lose games. Nobody can go 100%. Although I came close yesterday, I was shit on Friday. Saturday was pretty good. I was 10-5 plus 4 units. Okay, not great. But that yesterday was the day. There you go. There's the 17 units, and that puts us up a lot in the long run. And that's what that's how you gamble. You play stocks. Does your stock go up every day? If you play 5 stocks, do all 5 of them make money? No. And they're fixed. Everything's fixed. We know that. We just keep going and hope we're on the right side of the fix, which we don't know. Unless Don Corleone's saying, hey, I fixed Indiana here. All right. Houston and Cleveland. This is a 6:10 game. It's 5 o'clock now. Apologize for being a little later. We got Cleveland minus 116.7, Eric Getty 150, a 1.50 ERA, and Sassoni a 5.21. Houston has been playing crap ball. Let's check if Altuve played yesterday. I saw him out, and they don't have a chance without Altuve. Let's see, Houston. He did play. He went 3 for 5. He's hitting 300. So you can see if you lose Altuve, you're in big trouble. Why is my phone doing this? So basically, I'm fine, but if I go hit the back button, then it's like shrinks the thing and it makes it harder to read and it gets kind of out of kilter. God, that's frustrating. So every one I go in, if I refresh it or go like I was in the gold tab and I looked at crypto and then I hit the reverse button and then it freaks out. So I don't know what I'm going to have to do. My phone guy wasn't in today, so hopefully he's in tomorrow. He knows what to do. But it's like every website I go into, it's fine until I hit the back button. So I can't hit the back button. And then if I delete it and then bring up the website again, it stays like this. All right, this really sucks. It sort of stretches it, so I can't, and it's small, so it's hard to read. It seems to be better at 110% than at 100. All right, so there we go. So I put it at 125, and that's better. Before you would put it at 100%, and it would be fine. Now I need something's wrong, and I need it at 125. All right, so Sony 521, Aragetta, they're playing in a total of 7. Is this Aragetta really a 1.5 ERA? He's pitched one game. They won and beat Colorado 3-1, 6 innings, and the last 3 years, he's had a 5.35 ERA and a 4.53 ERA. He looks like he was injured last year. He only pitched 7 times, and this year won. So his 1.50 is not real. Sony. So this could be an over with Altuve playing. Cleveland, they usually have pretty good pitching, and they don't really have a lot of hitters. It's amazing how many teams don't have hitters now. It's insane. You go through the lineup, there's at least 7, I'd say, out of the 9, maybe 6 out of the 9 that don't hit 220. I mean, it's like, what the fuck is going on in baseball? And they wonder why nobody cares, nobody watches it. It's extremely hard to bet because all of a sudden the guy hitting 160 gets 3 hits and a home run. You're like, he's hitting 160. And then, you know, I'll bet the 300 guys, and the guy's hitting 300 goes 0 for 5. And that's the nature of averages. I'm going to let that go. I think it's an over, but I don't like it. Cincinnati and Tampa. We got Louder. Well, let's do this. We got Tampa Bay 116-8. We got Louder with the 3.52 against Schultens with the 0.00. I don't trust that he's obviously a 0. I don't really like this game either. Let's check the streaks. See, now this is what it should look like, right? But if I hit the back button, I'll fuck this up. So I got to be careful with that. Standings. And let's look for streaks. All right, Yankees on a 3-game win streak. Minnesota's on a 4-game losing. Okay, KC. KC is on a 7-game losing streak, so we'll bet against them. They're 7-15. They're worse than the White Sox. And then we've got Houston on a 4-game losing streak. And then the National League, we've got Atlanta on a 5-game win streak. We've got Philly on a 5-game losing streak. And the Jets, Mets on an 11-game losing streak. Almost won yesterday. They blew it in the ninth, and then they blew it in the 10th. St. Louis on a 5-game win streak. The Cubbies on a 5-game win streak. So you see how well it worked yesterday. 3 teams. We bet against KC with the Yankees. We bet against the Mets with the Cubs, and we bet against Philly with Atlanta, who was also on a 4-game win streak, and all 3 won. So without knowing anything, just betting the streaks, we picked up 9 units. So there's many ways to skin a cat, as you know how I do it. So the Cubs we've got, and the Dodgers on a 2-game losing streak. Colorado is red hot, even though they're only on a 2-game win streak. The 2 games came against the Dodgers, so that looked pretty good. All right, so that's what we got on streaks. So now let's go back. So let's see. Houston is on a losing streak, but we're not going to touch it. Cincinnati, Tampa, nothing. All right. St. Louis and Miami. St. Louis is on a 5-game win streak. It's Miami. Miami is a 125 favorite, 8.5. McGreevy with a 2.57 ERA for St. Louis, and M. Meyer a 4.26 for Miami. So we're going to take St. Louis here. We'll keep it at 2 units, but I do like it. They're getting plus 116, so we got a live dog here. They got the better pitcher, and I'm kind of surprised that they're 13-8. Miami's 10-12. Doesn't mean a whole lot, but St. Louis is playing pretty good this year so far. We got to keep an eye. Usually an injury will hurt you, but here they got the better team with the better pitcher, and they're the dog. So thank you. Atlanta, another team we like, plays the Redskins. So it's the Falcons and the Redskins. Elder with a .78 ERA against Jay Irvin with the 6.16. I'm going to take Atlanta minus 116 or minus 160, and that's also a 2-unit play. I don't know who this Elder is, probably a bullpen guy. It doesn't matter. They're hot. They're 15-7, and here's Washington, and they are a road favorite, Atlanta. So if you notice, this year I'm playing a little more team. Last year was more totals. And there's always a surprise when 2 bad pitchers pitch a 2-1 game, and 2 aces like Fried gave up 10 runs last week. So it just happens. Philadelphia, the Eagles are even. They're plus 100. The Cubbies are minus 108. Total of 7.5. Aaron Nola, who's not as good as he was, 409. Better as a Yankee. And Charlie Ray, a 180 for the Cubbies. And we are betting the Cubbies, and this is 4 units. The Cubbies are minus 108. And this is what I say, 4 units. Why? Philadelphia on a 5-game losing streak. The Cubbies on a 5-game winning streak. Doesn't get any. So Chicago's playing good, and Philadelphia's playing bad. And here we got the better pitcher on the Cubbies. They're at home. Instead of looking at the 7.5 over under, I'm just looking at they're hot, which means their bullpen's playing well, they're hitting well, and all the little derivatives under that. Baltimore, KC is on a 7-game losing streak. Baltimore minus 108. KC's 100. Doesn't make sense. Total of 9. We got Bradish with a 5.68 for Baltimore. Seth Lugo with a 1.50 for KC. Here's where it gets difficult. The play is Kansas City if we ignore the streak because of Seth Lugo. Good pitcher. The total is 9, which again, it's hard. This bet is a Kansas City bet. They've got the better pitcher all the way around. They should win it, but they're on a losing streak. We could go 9, but we don't like 9 because Seth Lugo's got a 1.50 ERA. So there's a problem there. So Do we trust Baltimore with this bratish 5-6-8? And I can't like it. So I'm going to leave this game alone. The bet should be Kansas City, but again, I'm not betting against the streak. If black's hitting, I either bet black or I don't bet. I do not bet red in the middle of a black streak at roulette. So here I'm not going to bet Baltimore uh, with Seth Lugo. Now, if they lose to Seth Lugo, then we're all in on Baltimore tomorrow. The Dodgers, Colorado, another Robluski with a .69 ERA. The Dodgers minus 217. Colorado gets 197, total 11.5. Quintana, a 5.62 against Robluski. Is this Robluski guy real with the .69? Again, he's pitched in 3 games. He's pitched 4 innings, 5 innings, 8 innings, giving up 4 hits and 3 runs, and then 2 hits and a run and 2 hits and no runs. Toronto and the Mets. Okay, so the Mets, nobody hits. But look how he pitched. He pitched 8 innings. Skubal doesn't do that, does he? I don't know what pit means. Does that mean how many pitches he threw? That's not clear. 90. I don't think that's it. So they beat the Mets 4-0. So is Wroblewski all that? Maybe. Let's look at him. The last 3 years, 24, he had a 5.70 ERA. Last year, he had a 4.32 ERA. This year, a 2.12. I don't know where this is coming from because in the 3 games, it doesn't show. I guess he's given up 4 earned runs. Yeah, he gave up 3 runs, then 1, and then nothing. So his last 2 games, he's given up 2 hits and 1 run, 2 hits and 0 runs but it was 5 innings and then 8 innings. So he's not that good. I don't know where they're getting the ERA. It's obviously a 2. His ERA is a 2.12, so I don't know what they're looking at with this .69 ERA. It's a tough call. I'm not going to bet this guy at 217. Colorado just beat him 2 out of 3. This is a strange game on a Monday to finish the series. Quintana, I'm not crazy about 5.82 ERA and the 197, 217 to 197. I'm gonna let it go. It's the 217. I like Colorado 197. They're playing well. I can't go with the pitcher, and then it's hard to go total, although Colorado is hitting them. So I would say a small over 11.5, but I'm not going to bet it. That's the best way I can do it. They had a good scoring game yesterday, so I look at it like that. Toronto goes to California, and nobody's got anything here. Our friend Dylan Cease, 1.80 ERA, pitching better against Detmers at the 3.68 for California. Toronto's 112, 7.5. I like Toronto here. Dylan Cease is pitching good. Minus 112. I'm going to go 2 units. But you can see the difference. This is not a streak. We're betting on Dylan Cease against Detmers. All right. Oakland against Seattle. The game's in Seattle. Seattle 140-8. We have Jay Jin, 2.0 ERA against Hancock, 2.35 ERA. Seattle does not hit. Oakland has them, and I'm going under here. We got Seattle under 8. I'm not going to bet it. I'm tempted to bet it and lay the 2. And that's it. Detroit 6, Boston 8. Boston was a 129 favorite. The over under on the game was 8.5. Yeah, I would have bet it over with these clown pitchers, but you can't. The game's over. There's your baseball for today. So we picked 6 games. We bet 4. St. Louis plus 116 for 2 units. Atlanta minus 160 for 2 units. The Cubbies minus 108 for 4 units. Toronto minus 112 for 2 units. Those are your 4 bets. We like LA over 11.5 because Colorado is hitting, and then Seattle under 8 just because neither team really hits. That's what we got. All right. Let's go to the NBA. Yesterday, we bet 4 games. We hit 2 and lost 2. We had Boston minus 12.5. Let's look at these scores. All right. Boston wins 123 to 91. We're laying 12.5, and they end up winning by 32. So that's a W. We've got Oklahoma over 215, and they win 119 to 84. Call it 120 to 84, get you a 4 and 10. They play a 213, and we needed 215. We missed by 1 bucket. They blew them out by almost 40 points. We could have laid 17.5, but that was the problem. I thought Phoenix would score more, and 17.5 is a big number. We got Orlando 112, Detroit 101. We had Detroit minus 8.5. I didn't think it would go over. The total on the game was 220. It was a 213. So we hit that, not going over. We didn't hit it. We just avoided it. We thought Detroit would win game 1, the 1 seed, 8.5. This is the worst 1 seed I've ever seen. Orlando should be the 1 seed and Detroit the 8 seed. So we lose with Detroit laying the 8.5. Detroit looks terrible. Magic stunned top seeded Pistons with Warrior. It wasn't a stun. They kicked their ass. They got the guy from Michigan, the German guy. He's on Orlando, has been hurt all year. Well, he's back, and they have a few other players, and Detroit has nobody. They got Richie Cunningham, who he drives okay, but you're not winning with him, which is the problem. So, again, not a real good thing there. So, Orlando, I don't normally now here I would bet Detroit in game 2, but I don't think I can unless Orlando is favored. In the last game, San Antonio 111, Portland 98. This goes under also. So the only game, I think all 4 games yesterday go under, where in the previous we hit the overs on a lot of them. They're laying 12.5, and they win by 13. So we snuck in there. but we'll take it. So San Antonio, actually, we're laying 11.5, and they won by 13. So we hit Boston minus 12.5. We hit San Antonio minus 11.5. The Pistons, just what I thought. They're not really good. And Oklahoma, we know they're the best. That was a big 40-point win. I think the champs are going to be Oklahoma, and I think whoever comes out of the West, it's a no-brainer. I think it'll be Boston. It could even be Orlando the way they're playing. See, people want to look at the Pistons. They choke. No, Orlando played well. They had all their players back. The regular season is a joke. You have guys sitting out. You have guys faking injuries and the whole thing. But once you hit the playoffs, there's none of that anymore. So I look at it where I think your best team's Oklahoma, and then maybe San Antonio, and with Winnebago, and then Denver with Jokic and Riddler and Penguin, and then I think you have the Lakers with Luka Brasi, and LeBron maybe would have been good, but without Luka, they don't have a chance. And then you have your pretenders. These teams have like a good player, and that's it. So now, how does it stand? Game 2. I think Boston goes up 2-0. I think they sweep. Oklahoma definitely sweeps. I think Orlando wins maybe 4-1, and then I think San Antonio probably sweeps. Portland's tough to play. They could win a game at home. All right, so let's go to today. We got Toronto at Cleveland. We got Cleveland 9.5, 222. This starts at 7 on Peacock, so I'm sure everybody's going to buy Peacock to watch this game. 8 o'clock game, the Atlanta goes to New York, and it's New York 6.5, 218 on NBC. And we only have 3 games. Okay. We got Minnesota with Anthony Davis playing again against Denver. Denver only 7.5, 231.5. So the Knicks, Denver, and Cleveland, all the home teams winning. I don't think the weak teams are good enough. The 4-5 series is Cleveland and Toronto. That's where you can expect it to be closer. I think, except for the Pistons, the 1s will blow out, the 2s will blow out. I don't know if they'll get any wins. All right, so let's go. Cleveland, Toronto. Cleveland's up 1-0. Cleveland will go up 2-0. 9.5, 222. What did we do? Cleveland minus 4-1. Now they're 9.5. I like. Let's go Cleveland, and we'll lay the 9.5. Although what happens now is they start getting used to the relationship of the other team. So now I've seen what they run. I know now I'm going to try to take this away and that. That's why it's hard to sweep, and they figure out what to do. But I think Cleveland is just better than Toronto. I think at home Toronto will take, but right now I think Cleveland goes up 2-0. Or I'm looking at the 222 to go over, but I think I'll pass on that right now. Atlanta goes to the Knicks. Knicks up 1-0. The Knicks 6.5, 218.5. It's a 3-6 matchup. I like New York here. Minus 6.5. And I thought it was an over the first time, and it didn't go over. Where was it? Atlanta over 217, and it lost. So this is not a series that I'm going to bet over. New York only laying 6.5 at home. They are the 3 seed. I like that. In their last game, I'm taking Denver, and I'm laying the 7.5. Again, 2 units. We'll go 2 units on all. Denver at home, that mile high just gets to you. They won the 231. We had Denver minus 6.5, which won. So we're going to go with 7.5, and they should pound them. Again, usually what happens, the team wins game one by 30 points, and then the other team comes back in game two. That's what normally happens when you have good teams playing each other, which I don't know how good Minnesota is. They seem pretty good, but Denver's been really hot, especially at home. And the Knicks and Cleveland, I think you just go with them at home. They have to win. They want to go up 2-0. And I think that's what you look at. This game's on NBC at 10:30. So you got the Knicks and Hawks at 8 o'clock on NBC, Minnesota, Denver, 10:30 on NBC. Now would you be watching Cleveland, Toronto on Peacock? Because go fuck off. Nobody wants to watch on Peacock. So that's your three bets there. Cleveland, we're taking the home teams. Cleveland laying 9.5, the Knicks laying 6.5, Denver laying 7.5. The one I feel the most comfortable about is Denver. The one I feel the least comfortable would be Toronto, Cleveland, because it's 9.5 and Toronto's a 5 seed. But I don't really, Cleveland beat them pretty good the first game. We had Cleveland -4, and I think they won by a lot. So playoff basketball now becomes psychological. The whole game shift now. They get used to playing each other, right? But the matchup's still there. And then it switches. So let's say all three go to 2-0, which we hope they go to 2-0. Then do we bet Minnesota at home as a home dog? Do we bet Atlanta? We probably bet Atlanta at home. And we probably bet Toronto at home. I don't know about Minnesota. Denver's just too much with this Jokic guy. He's red hot. So Denver's probably my favorite of the 2 units. Maybe that's a 3 unit. And that's what you got. So good luck on that. The NFL draft is Thursday. I watched yesterday I told you I would. Miami, Ohio State, Miami, Indiana, the college bowl games. And I'm specifically watching Ruben Bain to see if his short arms, it's like a Key and Peele skit, with a guy. I'm expecting a guy to have like arms like this big, right? They're it comes 2 feet out of his body. That's what I was expecting to see with Ruben Bain. But you know what? His arms look normal. If you didn't say he had small arms, you wouldn't pick up on it. Now, against Ohio State, had a sack, a bunch of pressures, a bunch of tackles. I don't see any reason this guy's going to have a problem in the pros. Then we go watch him against Indiana. I didn't watch him against Ole Miss, but we watched him against Indiana. Same thing. A couple of sacks, a couple of tackles for loss. He's all over the place. He's not going to get to the quarterback every time, but I noticed they ran away from him a lot. That's like Lawrence Taylor. He's on the left. We're running to the right. We don't want to mess with that guy. Clearly the best player. They had another good edge rusher, which I would keep an eye on if he's going in the draft. And very good secondary on Indiana, on Ohio State, on Miami. Great defenses. I would just pick guy, and then Texas Tech's the 4th team, and maybe some guys from Oregon, and I would just go, yep. Oh, who's available? They got 8 guys. Just feed them. And that's how I would draft. So if I'm like the Lions, it starts with Ruben Bain, and then it goes to, I'm sure Bailey will be gone from Texas Tech, and then you go, oh, wait, there's this guy at Ohio State. He looked pretty good. There's another guy at Indiana who looked pretty good. Oh, wait, there's more on Miami, and it's all you can eat. I drafted an offensive lineman or two in the fifth and sixth round from Ohio State, Notre Dame, Michigan, somewhere, and they'll be just fine especially if they're starters. Do not waste offensive line picks in the first round or probably the second round. It's a waste of time. No reason to take them. That's the worst thing you can do because they don't. Offensive line is a unit, right? There's five guys in a unit. You've got to play it, and they've got to get comfortable together. So I can draft a Reuben Bain who can be explosive right away as a defensive end or these defensive tackles, but I cannot draft an offensive guard and like he's going to do it. Like he's got to get used to the center guard tackle. They got to get used to each other, the center and the two guards. And as long as they're good together, then they'll be all right. But that's not going to help like the Lions getting a guard. They don't really need a tackle. They got Sewell that moved him to left tackle. The other right tackle can be any. Who cares? And then same thing with the guards. Just pick up some guys from Ohio State, Notre Dame, Indiana, and just pop them in and just let them get a mesh. But they'll be fine. Indiana's offensive line looked great. They put up 27 on Miami, which isn't easy to do. I thought Indiana had very good guys in the secondary. You want a guy, the guy who picked the ball to win the game at the end. He looked pretty good. Miami's loaded. Texas Tech's loaded. It's not that hard, fellas. Just give me a text. Oh yeah, I'll take this guy. I don't know who he is, but I'll take him. The Lions made a mistake of drafting this guy out of Ohio State as a defensive tackle. But when you watched him against Michigan and you watched him in the playoffs, he sucked. He didn't make any tackles. In fact, he didn't do anything. And the Lions drafted him, and now it's like, oh yeah, we need some defensive line help because we're idiots, and we drafted a guy from Ohio State who sucked. And you got to watch some of it. Sonny Styles or some other guys, they're okay. It's the system there, as we know, in quarterback. Their quarterbacks always suck. So my first pick, if I'm the Oakland Raiders, is I'm taking Reuben Bain. Shorthands or not. Let's measure Max Crosby's arms. Does he have giant arms? Does he have like 10-foot arms? So yeah, that would be a very good defensive duo, Reuben Bain with Max Crosby. You've got you're going to waste your time on Mendoza's. He's not a number one pick. I don't know that he's a first round pick. I just think it's like the US dollar. It's the best dollar, but all the dollars stink. The British pound, the euro, the maple, Canadian dollar, the won, the ruble, they all suck. So to say the US dollar is the best of nothing. It's sort of like the whatchamacallit, what do you call it? I keep wanting to call it the Heisman Trophy winner. I know that's not right. The Cy Young Award winner in the American League. It's like, well, it goes to school because there's nobody there. He's not the best, but he's better than the other losers. That's how bad baseball is. I mean, you've got to understand sometimes the league just sucks. The players just suck, and that's what you got. So here to say, well, he won the Heisman, big thrill. The Heisman probably should have went to Reuben Bain or the Miami receiver, that little guy who you can't stop. Not Mendoza. Mendoza won it because they were undefeated. Yeah, okay, that's a great reason. So he's obviously the best player because they're undefeated. They were undefeated because they had great running and great defense. And Mendoza still threw those interceptions against Penn State. Let's not forget that. So my first pick, if I'm Oakland, if I'm Al Davis Jr. here, I'm going to Reuben Bain, and then I'm all set. I got my defense. I pick up a guy in the secondary in the second round from either Indiana, Texas Tech, or Miami. They're loaded. I like that Fulcher guy or Fletcher from Miami, the running back. He's much better than the Notre Dame guy. I read you that stat, and I'll read it to you again. Let's go to college ball. So everybody thinks Everybody loves Jeremiah Love. And I read you this. All that, how are you? I think Mendoza plays with heart and passion, but I'm like you. I just don't know about him. Well, 2 years ago, he played at Cal. He had 16 touchdowns and 6 picks. Is that your number one pick? No. Indiana was pretty much loaded. Um, let's see. How do I get scores? Um, it was pretty much loaded. Okay, let's go back to week 2. So I mean, it was pretty much he had nothing. Indiana was loaded, right? They had good running backs. They had a good offensive line. They had good receivers. So you don't know how to defend that. So he looked better on Indiana, but at Cal he was 16-6 was nothing. All right, let's go to week 2. And I'm going to show you why I don't like Jeremiah Love. I believe they played Notre Dame played Miami. No, Miami played Bethune-Cookman. All right, when did they play? Let's go to week 3. Let's see. Miami played South Florida. All right, let's go to week 1 then. I think maybe it was week 1. I'm running out of weeks here. I know it was early in the season. Here we go. Notre Dame, Miami. Miami wins 27-24. Miami was actually the dog. Jesus Christ. I think I played this game under. Okay. So let's look at Mr. Love. 10 rushes for 33 yards against the pro defense, right? Reuben Bain and the boys. His longest run was 8 yards. His longest run was 8 yards and no touchdowns. Do you want to draft this guy? Is this guy a number 3 pick in the draft against a real defense? Not Army and Navy and Stanford and USC teams with no defenses. Here he played an NFL defense, 10 rushes, 33 yards. Okay, that's my point. Now, let's look at Miami. And this is the guy I like, Fletcher, 15 carries, 66 yards, 4 yards a thing, a 15-yard long. But really what I'm on here for is the defense. Reuben Bain, 6 tackles, 3 solos, 1 interception for 12 yards. So can you explain how his arms were not too short against a Notre Dame defense? 6 tackles, led the team, and this Messiador is also a stud defensive end with 5. So you can draft both these guys. But if I'm Oakland, I'm drafting Reuben Bain first. Messiador is not going to shouldn't be far behind. The Lions should take him. He'll be available. To say that Reuben Bain's arms they weren't too small against Notre Dame, who has a pro offensive lineman, right? I mean, they all go to the pros. He had no problem with that. 6 tackles and 1 interception and a half a sack. So somebody's got to explain something to me. His arms are too short, but he's not having a problem against Notre Dame. And then Fletcher runs for Fletcher runs 15 times for 66 yards and no touchdowns. And Jeremiah Love, what did he have? Eight rushes, 10 rushes for 33 yards, 3.3. So when he played a good team, the point being, he didn't do shit. Yeah, okay, it was week one, but they didn't play anybody the rest of the year. So that's my point. That's how you really get to the bottom of it. Let's go to Indiana, Ohio State then. Oh, wait, Indiana, Ohio State was not the bowl week. I think it was week 16. Try week 50. Here we go. Indiana 13-10 over Ohio State. This is what they come up with. The quarterback shoe goes flying and hits a cheerleader. Yeah, I want to watch that. I wouldn't want to watch the game. I'd want to watch the cheerleader getting it. All right, so let's look at what happened here. Mendoza, 15-23, 222 yards, one touch, one pick, 3 sacks. Is this your number one guy? Well, he played Ohio State, a good team. Ohio, Indiana. Maybe you want to draft this receiver Becker, 6 for 126. That's about it. But let's look at. So that's my point. Mendoza, 15-23, 222, a touch and an interception against the pro defense, Ohio State. Ohio State, does that have anything? Saying 21-29, 258, a touch and an interception, and 5 sacks. That's not quarterback I want. Bo Jackson, okay, I can see taking him. 17 rushes, 83 yards, no touchdowns. And receiving, yes, the Smith guy is very good, 8 for 144. But I don't think he's coming out yet. Carnell Tate, 4 for 45. So that's what you have. Let's look at defense. Sonny Styles, there you go. 7 tackles, 12 tackles, 7 solos. Downs, the safety, 8 and 6. Defensive end Curry, 7 tackles for 4. The other safety. So they run their safeties up near the line, obviously. 6 tackles, 5 solos. And that's about it for Ohio State. So let's go back to Indiana. And let's look at their defense. So we saw there, maybe you go to Black, 16 rushes, 69 yards. Hemby's pretty good. We saw Becker as the receiver. Let's go to their defense. So who do we want? Oh, well, look at this Hardy linebacker, 10 tackles, 6 solos. Pons, 9 tackles, 6. Jones, 6 tackles, 3 solos. Moore, 6 for 3. The linebackers, the safety, they're just loaded all the way down. So cornerback, defensive back, and a safety, 6, 6, and 5. 9, 6, and 5. So I can draft Hardy. I can draft this Pons guy. I can draft. What I don't see is a defensive lineman. Let's see if anybody shows up. I got a defensive tackle Daly with 3, defensive lineman Tucker. So Indiana is not made up of defensive linemen. It's 3 linebackers making all these tackles, and a corner and a safety and a DB making the other tackles. So It's basically linebacker 10, linebacker 6, linebacker 5. So let's notice Indiana does not have those defensive linemen. They're going to a linebacker and they blitz the fuck out of you. So again, do we want Mendoza 15 out of 23 for 222 yards, a touchdown, and an interception? Is that the number one draft pick? Did he win the game for you? Or was it Black getting 69 yards, Hemby, and then not only that, it's all your defense basically with 100 tackles, not letting Ohio State do anything. So it's a different thing. If I would have showed you Montana at Notre Dame, if this would go back to 1979, you would see a different story. So if we look at, well, let's look at Miami, Ohio State. I think we looked at that, didn't we? Yeah. So here against the pro defense, Fletcher goes 19 for 90 and doesn't get a touchdown, but he's 19 for 90 there. Okay, Beck goes 19 of 26 for 138. So I'm not a big Beck fan, but I'm a big Fletcher fan. And then we go to, and we might have already done this, but oh well, we'll do it again. Torre, 7 tackles, 5 solos. Thomas, Messiador, 5. And Ruben Bain only had 3 tackles, 1 solo in this game. But I'm sure they ran the other way, because if you look at Messiador, the other defensive end, they ran to his side. So you can't say, oh, well, Bain didn't do anything. But Torre looks good. Messiador, I definitely keep an eye on as the second defensive end. Now let's look at Ohio State. And we got Sand, 22 of 35, 287, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. One was a pick 6 on a play he never picked up the defensive guy. So 22 of 35. Bo Jackson, 11 for 55. That shows you how good a Miami's defense is, why you want to draft 4 or 5 of these Miami guys. And receiving again, Smith, 7 for 157. He's definitely an elite running back, a receiver. Nobody argues that, not even me. And I love arguing. Now, I don't know who they say Ohio State's got the number 1 pick. I don't know who they're talking about. Maybe this Downs, 8 tackles, 5 solos. The cornerback, McDonald, 8 for 5. Another linebacker, 7 and 4. Defensive end, Curry, 6. Matthews, Houston. So it's pretty much, let's look at the top 4. Reese, the linebacker, a defensive tackle, McDonald, and then Downs. And so their secondary, if we look at their top tacklers, Igliabula, 10 for 7, Downs, 8 of 5, and Matthews, 6 of 5. I think Downs is the one they're saying is number 1. And then they have 2 So if I'm looking for defensive linemen, it's this McDonald or Curry guy. I'm noticing linebackers at Indiana and here, and then the defensive guys, Igliabugla, Downs, and Matthews, very good tacklers. I don't know how good they are at coverage. That's what this doesn't show you. So looking at that, do you see that as let's go bet? Let's take Mendoza with the first pick. Let's look at Miami and A&M. Now, this was a very windy game. Fletcher against a very good A&M team, 17 carries, 172 yards. 56 was his longest here. You sure you want to take the guy from Notre Dame? Are you sure? This is against a very strong A&M team and a win in a playoff game. Let's look at our defense. All right, we've got the cornerback Scott, 10 tackles, Thomas, 9, linebacker Toure, Bissamin, the linebacker, 7, Poiser was 6, Messiador, again, 5 tackles, 1 solo, Ruben Bain, 5 tackles, 4 solos. Again, this is playing against a very quick quarterback for A&M who runs around, who runs around a lot. So he might avoid Bain, but he's still got 5 tackles. Yeah, I guess his arms are too short. He only got 4 solo tackles. I'm not going to show A&M stats. I don't care. And let's look at one more Indiana to say how good is this guy. We saw the Ohio State game. He didn't do shit. Miami of Ohio State, we showed you. Indiana against Alabama, and Alabama's quarterback got hurt at half. So 38-3 is a little misleading here. We don't want to see Alabama. We want to see Indiana. 14 of 16, 192 yards, 3 touchdowns. A decent game, but mostly they ran the ball down their throat. Black and Hemby with the 100 yards. So I would be comfortable taking Black and Hemby. Jeremiah Love is not a number 3 pick. Fletcher from Miami is a number 3 pick. These guys are high second round, mid first round to second round. You can draft these guys if they're available and go with them. So Mendoza, nice 14 out of 16. Alabama. Let's look at their defense. And again, the DB, the linebackers, all 3 linebackers, 7. So you can see Indiana. There's the first defensive lineman's down there. So if we go, it's DB, linebacker, DB. Now we understand Indiana. They get you with their linebackers, their secondary comes up, and they make all the tackles. The defensive linemen, what I assume they're doing is getting in the way of the offensive linemen and letting the linebackers run free to make all the tackles. That's why you don't see the defensive line. They're engaging the linemen so the linemen can't block the linebackers and the linebackers are stuffing. Well, they won a national title. I guess they know what the fuck they're talking about. What was the other Miami? No, that was the Indiana. So you can see there, Indiana, is he a number 1 draft pick? I say no way. No way, Jose. Fletcher from Miami, Ruben Bain, and the other guy, Messiador. Those are your studs out of Miami right there. Those 3 guys. So if I'm the Raiders, I'm going after Messiador and Bain. And then I got the best defense in the league because those guys are just that. Pick up some Indiana linebackers, and you're throwing shutouts. And the secondary you can easily get out of Ohio State and Texas Tech, and Oakland's loaded. Do they really need offensive line? Well, they drafted 2 last year. How bad can these guys be? Or maybe they need an offensive line coach. That's all I heard was we got to get rid of Chip Kelly because he only won a national championship at Ohio State. He doesn't know what he's talking about, which is a bunch of bullshit. All right. Indiana, Alabama, Ole Miss beating my Georgia team, Miami, and Ole Miss. All right. Let's see how Ruben Bain does against a good passing attack, an NFL passing attack. So let's see. Fletcher. Oh, he had a bad day. 22 for 133 yards. A 19-yarder was his long. Tony, of course, he's great, 5 for 81. This Marion, 7-1-14. Oakland, there you go. You need a receiver. Now, Tony's was a freshman. You're not getting him for another couple of years. But let's go to defense. So we had Thomas with 5. There's Messiador, 4 tackles, 4 solos. Ponsner, the defense. So this is a little different game, and then Baines down here, 1 tackle, 1 solo. But because it was a passing attack at Ole Miss, you're not going to get that style of defense. He's not going to. Did they say how many pressures he gets? He doesn't say pressures, but I'm sure he was all over. But they're not running at him; they're running the other way or rolling the pocket the other way. So you're not really going to get a lot there. So again, that Fletcher guy is outstanding. And that little guy they had, he's a freshman. Let's see what else. That was Miami, Indiana, Oregon. So let's look at Indiana, Oregon. I think we looked at Indiana, Miami, but we'll look at it one more time. Indiana, Oregon, 56-22. It was all turnovers, right? So Indiana's off to a 35-7 lead. And that was it. Let's see. Mendoza, 17-20. Is he your number 1 draft pick? Hard game because they had such a big lead. He's just going to run the ball. He threw 5 touchdown passes, so that's Oregon's a good team. Hemby and Black didn't do much because they had such a big lead. And then defensively, again, you have cornerback. There we go. And again, Indiana, linebacker. Hardy, Jones, and Fisher, 9, 6, and 6, make the bulk of the tackles. And then the defensive line, there's Tucker and Pond. This Pond's guy's really good. So there you go. Take Ponds, take more. These guys, I'd say you take Ponds from Indiana, and then this Fisher, Jones, and Hardy, the linebackers. I think now again, they're letting the linebackers run loose, but these guys are very, very good. I mean, they didn't accidentally win the title. And then we'll look at this championship game one more time. And this is really the cream. This really shows you Mendoza. Championship game against Ruben Bain and Messier. Or whatever his name is. All right, let's see. Fletcher, 17-for-112 against this vicious Indiana defense. Tony, that's our guy, 10-for-122 and a touchdown. He's fantastic. And then defense, there you go. Ruben Bain, championship game, 8 tackles, 5 solos. Yeah, his arms are too short for me. Torrey, 11-for-6. So there you go. We're loaded with linebackers. We got Ruben Bain and we got Messiador, three tackles, 2. So you can see in the bigger game, Ruben Bain showed up, 8 tackles, 5 solos. Yeah, he's no good. Let's not draft him because his arms are too small. Oh, they weren't too small against the pro Indiana offensive line, were they? What the fuck are these guys talking about? He would have had trouble in college if his arms were too small. He wouldn't have been 8 tackles, 5 solos if he couldn't play. Messiador, 3 and 2. So both these guys are high number 1 draft picks, high first round draft picks. And then just look at the linebackers and the DBs. You got Thomas, Posier, and O'Connell, Scott. You're just loaded on defense with Miami. I don't know if they're all available because I don't know if they're all going in the draft. But you can see, so when you look at Mendoza in this game, which let's look at him, 16 to 27, 186 yards, no touches, no interceptions, and 3 sacks. And I know one was by Reuben Bain. Is this your number one draft pick? Yes, he wins the big game, but you know how they won? It was a block punt. Indiana blocks the punt to go up. That's how they won the game, not Mendoza. Mendoza also had that run on 4th and 5. Uh, so he did run it in. It was very clutch. That's very good. 16 to 27. He's not going to run it in the pros like that. And I don't smell what he's cooking here. When I got a better player, Fletcher, I got a better player, Reuben Bain, and I got a better Messiador. I got 3 better players on Miami than Mendoza. All right, now let's do one other thing. Let me read you all that. Didn't they say Mike Singletary's arms were short too? Well, Mike Singletary was small. I probably, but yeah, he couldn't play either, could he? I'm sure Mike Ditka's arms weren't, 7 feet. Ray Nitschke, maybe his arms were okay. All right, I want to go to Texas Tech. I think they played Oregon. I mean, all you have to do if you want to be like I can be a pro scout. All I got to do is go into the box scores and go, yeah, that look what they did in the game. I don't know why it's so difficult. All right, here we go. Oregon 23, Texas Tech 0. I know there was a lot of interceptions by Texas Tech. What I'm looking for here is defense. I bet you Bailey had over 5 tackles. Let's see. And let's check Oregon's. I know their quarterback sucks, Dante Moore. Everybody wants him. He's the best. Okay, Oregon. Really, it was 6-0 at half, 13-0. Texas Tech was playing really good defense. Oregon, Dante Moore, 26 to 33. How many interceptions? No touchdowns, 1 pick. Oregon. All right. Davidson, 15 for 42. Winningham, not much there. Receiver Johnson, Benson, not much there. Do they have defense? Okay. Butcher, linebacker, 12 tackles, 6 solos. The safety, Thieneman, 12 tackles, 6 solos. Tuati, outside linebacker, 6 and 6. Finney, 6 and 4. And then 2 more linebackers. So this draft's loaded with linebackers. Holy Christ. But this is how you draft. I want to see the guy that actually makes the fucking tackles. All right, Texas Tech. Morton let us down, 18 of 32, played like a pig. How many? He had 2 interceptions. So Morton, he was pretty good until he played this game. Then he choked. Now Williams, 13 rushes, 81 yards. But I'm looking at their defense. Let's see. The tight end, 9 of 7. You're in trouble when your tight end's your best weapon. Virgil. So they didn't have much wide receiver help. But let's get to the cream here. Let's get to this defense. We know the name is Bailey that we're looking for. Roberts, 16 tackles. Again, the linebackers. 8 solos, 11 and an interception. 11 tackles for Rodriguez, the other linebacker. Bailey, there you go. He's actually an outside linebacker, but I think he's a defensive end. 9 tackles, 5 solos, and 1 sack. Bain and Bailey, take your choice. I think Bain's better. Another safety, 9 tackles, 7. Defensive tackle, Hunter, 7, 5 solos. Boyd, 7 and 3. So you've got linebackers all over the place. Bailey, who looks like he's Lawrence Taylor with 9 and 5, is an outside linebacker with the 1 sack. And then Hunter, 7 and 5. These are stud defensive players. So between Indiana with their linebackers, and you've got Reuben Bain and the other guy, defensive ends. You got Bailey here as the linebacker. You got all the linebackers, and then Ohio State with a bunch of linebackers. But I think they're playing them different. I think they're rushing the line. I think the linemen are covering the blocks, so they're free. I don't get it. If you're a pro team, I just read you 15 linebackers that are very productive in big games. You got Reuben Bain and Marzetti or whatever from Miami, and they're loaded with linebackers and safeties. Ohio State loaded with linebackers and safeties who can tackle. Texas Tech, not Oregon as much. Miami, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas Tech. There you go. Look at this, Roberts. 16 tackles, 8 solos, 1 interception against Oregon, against a good team. And Rodriguez, 11 tackles, and Bailey, 9 and 5. I mean, that is the point. That's how you pick. So you're going to have Mel Kiper go this and that, and this guy's the best. If it doesn't say Miami and it doesn't say Texas Tech and it doesn't say Indiana, he ain't the best. Anyway, playoff game, Oregon, James Madison. Really? Wow. BYU is another with a very strong defense last year. Let's take a look at them against my Georgia team. Oh, this is against my Georgia Tech team. Haynes King, 22 of 40, 254, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. All right, but I don't really want Georgia Tech. I do want BYU. So, okay, Bachmeyer, 27 of 38, 325. Not much rushing. Receiving, Ryan, 8 for 120. Kingston, there you go. You want some receivers. You want some tight ends. But what we want is defense. So I don't see any sacks because it's hard to sack Haynes King. We got a linebacker, Glasgow. This is BYU, 6 tackles, 3 solos, a safety, 6 and 4. God knows that guy. Mosi Tatupu, I guess, 6 and 6. There's a defensive end for you. Wall, 5 for 4. Here's a defensive tackle, 4 tackles, 3 solo. Or they're both Tamu Pua. These must be brothers. Defensive end, defensive tackle, linebacker, corner. So how hard is it to draft? I mean, here, Georgia, BYU, another outstanding defensive team. Let's see if we got Utah in here. They have fantastic defense. I think I saw Utah. Here we go. Utah against Nebraska. Coach's last game, they kill. It's a lock, 44-22. And this is the last one. Let's take Utah's defense. Devin Dampier, 19 of 31, 310 yards, 2 touchdowns. I love this Devin Dampier. I don't know if he's in the draft. It's Pavio and Dampier, 1 and 2, not Mendoza. He's nowhere near it. And this is here's Dampier. He's 19 of 31 for 310, but he's also 19 of 148 running. Lamar might be 19 of 148 running, but he's not 19 of 31 for 310 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's what Lamar doesn't bring you. That's what you want is a guy like Dampier who can run, but he can also throw 19 of 31. And he's very hard to tackle. Lamar's fast. This guy's quick. He's got moves. All right. Here's another tight end from Utah, Bentley. There's one on the guy on Kincaid on Buffalo is a Utah tight end. A couple of receivers for you at Oakland for my Oakland friends, my Steeler friends. There's a lot of Oakland fans who come on here, all that. That's why I say that. Me, I'm not. I'm probably a Niner fan if I have to choose, but I'm capable of betting against them. Here's Utah's defense. Oh, look at the linebackers again. 9 tackles, 3 solos, 7 tackles, 4. Cornerback, another linebacker. It's full of linebackers and another linebacker, Reynolds, defensive end, defensive tackle, Leah, Viamaya, defensive tackle. If you need defense, they're all right here. Why is it so difficult? And it kills all the measurements and the 40 times and all that. Believe me, if the Ane can get 9 tackles and 3 solos, he's fast enough. He's a linebacker. This Cotton, a cornerback, 5 tackles, 2 solos. He's fast enough to make we don't care how fast he is. Can he make the play is what you're looking to draft. Are quarterbacks that can make the plays and running backs. I give you Fletcher, and I do not give you the guy on Notre Dame. I'm sorry. What am I going to show you against Stanford, against Army and Navy? Of course, Love's going to have a big game. See how I do that? I try to think of his name. I can't. When I don't think of his name, I think of it. So Love, he played well against shit, but in the big game against Miami, a pro defense, he got 30 yards. That's the point, because this is the pros. He's not going to play Army, Navy, and Stanford. He's going to be playing teams like Miami every week, and he's not going to show up because he's not good. But Fletcher did it against Indiana, and he did it against Ohio State. He did it in the big time. He's a better running back than Love. But Love went to Notre Dame and, touchdown Jesus and Lou Holtz and all that. And this is how you analyze and problem solve. Fletcher's the better running back. He's a steal anytime you draft this guy. And this is why, if I'm any team, okay, I'm Oakland. I got Gentry. Do I take Fletcher from Miami in a heartbeat? You can't have enough of them. I watch, if he's available, watch Seattle draft him, because they lost that. They lost my guy from Michigan State, Walker. So the Rams would love him. If the Rams get him, they're going to win the Super Bowl. I don't know. There's a ton of linebackers for the Rams here. So when the draft happens, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, what we're going to look at is Miami defense and Fletcher. We're going to look at Indiana defense. We're going to look at Ohio State defensive guys. And I don't think if the receiver from Ohio State came out, he'd be a top pick. Not number 1, but he'd be a top pick. Also, this Tony from Miami, when he comes out, I mean, that's a steal right there, whoever gets him. The Alabama receiver didn't do much last year, did he? He kind of didn't. He had a good first year and then nothing last year. So that's how you look at the draft. Are they playmakers? Do they make the tackles? Do they make the interceptions? Do they get the sacks? They're fast enough to do that. Reuben Bain he dominates these games most of the time. All right, against Ole Miss, it's a quick passing attack. Nobody can get there. I'm sure the guy doesn't get sacked much. But that's because it's a passing offense. You're going to get rid of the ball quickly. These wide receiver screens, well, you don't expect Reuben Bain to do that. But what do we notice? So as an analytical problem solver, what do I notice? The linebackers are eating everything up, except for Miami. And even in Miami, Indiana, the top 3 tacklers were the linebackers. At Utah, at Miami, pretty much, except for Bain. What was the other team? BYU, Ohio State, Indiana, Miami, BYU, even Oregon. All their top tacklers are the linebackers. So let's go to the Michigan Ohio State game. Let's see what happened there. That would have been week 13 or so. Let's see, week 14. Let's look at Texas A&M. Let's see how good Texas's defense is. I just happen to be passing by. Arch Manning, 14 of 29 for 179 yards and one touchdown. The Archer, Jesus, he's terrible. They have a running back, Wisner, 19 for 155. Keep an eye on. We want the guys who get the stats. Let's see. All right, defense. Linebacker, Lafau, 3 solos, 11 tackles. Defensive end, Burke, 8 tackles, 2. McDonald, defensive back, 8 tackles, 6 solos. Taffy, the safety, had an interception, 5 tackles. Not a lot of defense here. Surprising. All right. Ohio State, Michigan. All right, let's see. Every time I hit my back button, I'm getting fucked on this. All right. Shit. All right, Ohio State, Michigan. We got Sayan, 19 to 26, 233, and 3 touchdowns and an interception. Bo Jackson runs 22 for 117 yards. He's not bad. Smith was 3 for 40. Their big number was Tate, 5 for 82. Now let's look at the defense. Sonny Styles, 4 tackles, 3 solos, downs, 3 for 2. Defensive tackle Malone and Jackson Jr., 2 tackles. Not a lot of tackles in this game. Something doesn't add up. Where's the rest of the tackles? So that's them. Let's look at, is there anybody on Michigan worth anything? Probably not. Underwear, 8 of 18 for 63 yards. They're paying this guy a couple million a year. He was the number 1 quarterback out of high school, which is why I don't look at high school talent, because they're playing high school talent. 8 of 18, 63 yards, 1 interception against the pro team. That is the problem with Underwear. No running, not much receiving, not much offense, defense. D-back, Hillman, 6 tackles, 5 solos. Metcalf, 6 for 3, a DB. Their top, see, now here at Michigan, their top 3 tacklers are defensive backs, 6, 6, and 5, probably throwing the ball. And here's a quarterback. Their top 4 tacklers were defensive backs. Then we finally get to a linebacker, 4 with 3 solos, a lineman, another defensive back, and then the rest of these guys are junk with 2 tackles. And that you can see the problem, right? The linebackers are making all the tackles at Indiana, at Miami, and a guy like Reuben Bain. So I fucked myself by hitting the back button. Fuck. All right. Oh, wait, it came back. Huh. I don't know what I hit, but I got my screen back. All right, so that's college football pretty much. So let's look at our gold right now. Seems like it's shoving this to the right, so I can't see it. Anyway, 79.72. Oh, this is 12:53, so we got to get updated. I hate when you go onto the page and it doesn't, it should refresh, but I got to refresh it. Oh, here, lovely. All right. We're at 80.08. Not bad. And we're up to 48.31. We had a nice 6 o'clock. You can see our 10 o'clock mess, right? So 10 o'clock, it's going up, it's 48.20, and then wham, it goes down to 49.90 at the 10 o'clock drop, and then it fights and finally gets back. Now China's got the ball, and China makes it go to 48.31. So you can see what we're fighting against is uh, is the U.S. for some they're just playing the banks are going broke because the way the bank worked, and I know I explain it, and I don't mind explaining it again. I hate when they say, "Well, watch one of my other episodes to see." I hate when Mark McGuire does that. It's like, "Fuck off, Mark. We can't follow you most of the time anyway, with your monotone voice, no personality, and you talk in Chinese. Nobody knows what you're saying except for the Chinese." So the bank they're all losing money. They're all going broke. Every bank. Because how does a bank work? They loan your money out and they make money on the interest. And if the loan isn't good and they don't get paid back, it's a loss. Even though they printed the money out of thin air, I give you a $500,000 loan for your house. I charge 8%. You're paying me $3,000 a month, of which $2,000 of it's interest. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm getting all this interest back. That's how I survive as a bank. Just like anybody else, if I loan you money and you don't pay me back, I'm the one who's fucked. So I got to take a risk. That's why my interest rate's high. So I'm doing that, but now people aren't paying me back on my loans. Why not? We don't because we lost our job and I can't afford to pay, so I'm not paying. I got to eat, or I'll find something else. Or I'm moving in with my parents or my kids or whatever it is. So you move in, and that's what happens. So with that said, the banks are losing money, but in the bullion banks, there's 8 bullion banks: Toronto Dominion, Deutsche Bank, our favorite, J.P. Morgan, I think Bank of America, Chase, and I think Wells Fargo or Bank of America or something. So I think there's four or six in the U.S. Well, I think there's the Italian bank and the Chinese bank. What is it? The one that's really crooked. I can't remember it off the top of my head. But anyway, they're the ones controlling it. So they're all shorting it, and then it goes way up because BRICS is buying the shit out of gold because they want to accumulate gold. And the banks are all going broke. And the banks can't loan any more money. They're looking for me. They're looking for able and willing. What does that mean? I'm able to take the loan and willing to take the loan. Only I'm not willing to take the loan. I don't want loans. I got gold and silver. I don't want a loan. I don't need a loan. Yes, I have credit card debt, but I don't care. The dollar will go out. I won't have to pay it. And if I have to pay something when gold goes to 10 grand, I sell an ounce and there goes my credit cards. So I'm not worried at all. I certainly don't need a loan to do it. But most people are like me. You're not working, so you can't afford to pay your mortgage, especially if it's a $3,000 a month mortgage. You can't afford it. Social Security should be like 5, 6 grand a month. Not I'm getting like 2,500. Should be much higher. So what you have is um, you have the banks going broke because they're not getting their loans back. Strip centers, business buildings. Uh, no, there's nobody, there's no tenants in them. There's no tenants in the strip mall. You see a lot of, you go drive by a strip mall. They're all washed out. Nobody's there. Nobody's paying rent. So the owner can't pay. So he defaults on it. So the banks are stuck with all these strip malls, all these office buildings that nobody's working in. Well, they don't want that. They want the money. They don't want. They don't know how to run a thing. They don't want to sell houses. And so that's the problem with the banks. They're all going broke. So what are they doing? They're playing the stupid option game because that's how the bullion banks make money. Oh, we'll sell the gold at 5,000 and we'll buy it back at 4,900. So we want the price to go down. However, they've been doing this since 2000, 2,500, 2,800, 3,000, and now they're up to their shorts and they're getting killed. And JP Morgan's doing it for 50 years. He's probably got silver at $25 an ounce. He's got to get rid of those options. HSBC, that's the bank in China. No, it's Hong Kong something. It's the most crooked bank. It's more crooked than JP Morgan. HSBC. So what you have are the banks trying to get solvent, which they can't. They're all going broke. All their loans are bad. Not like 80% of them are bad. People aren't going to pay their mortgage. They're not paying their car payment. The bigger ones are not. Most businesses are just fake. They're just shell corporations. They're not real. And who gets hurt? The banks. So when you read Amazon's laying off 30,000 employees and they're going broke, it's the banks that get hurt because the banks will never get paid back. And the banks have only one way to make money. Well, they have two. They have playing the COMEX option game and lending their money out and getting paid back in the interest, which that's getting harder and harder. And is with BRICS, COMEX is harder and harder. Then you got an idiot like Trump going to war for Israel. You've got going against Russia. Are they going to go for a China war? I mean, this is crazy. It's anybody who's in BRICS they're trying to go to war with, because once the gold-backed currency, which is already out there called the unit, takes over, the dollar's gone because nobody wants the dollar. Nobody will buy our treasuries, and nobody wants the U.S. dollar. And you got the 39 trillion in debt, which will be 40 very soon. Well, you got to pay that down. There's a lot of debt coming due, I guess, the middle of this year or starting June, July. There's going to be a lot of debt rolling over from 0 to 5%, which is going to fuck everything up. So who do we owe the money to? We owe it to the countries buying our treasuries. We owe it to pension funds, life insurance funds, mutual funds, ETFs, whoever wants to buy bonds. And it's the first investment. Why would you take out a bond from somebody that has 39 trillion in debt? Oh yeah, they'll pay you back. And to add an insult to injury to insult, the money isn't worth anything anyway. So you're going to do a bond and you're going to get what, 4% interest? And then when let's say you do it for 5 years, at the end of 5 years, your $10,000 is worth 49 cents. Great investment. So the bonds might have been the safest play, but they're not, because they're backed by the government, which is broke. The $39 trillion, and that says so. So that's the biggest problem. So that's where the banks are in big trouble, which makes you in big trouble if you do the loans. What else? So COMEX, it's ridiculous because these are people. They're creating gold and silver that don't exist. That's illegal. That's made off, and you can't do that. I mean, you got, I love looking at it. You got 76 million tons of silver versus 1.2 million, which maybe that's generous. let's call it a million. Let's just round it. 76 million tons of contracts and a million tons of physical. What are we doing with the other 75 million tons of silver that doesn't exist? And you're selling, you guys are buying and selling. And who wants to buy? Who wants to take delivery when there is no delivery to take? That's the point. So that's what we have. We've got a mess on our hands, a nightmare. And that's all you can do. I mean, it's so you got the banks collapsing, which leads you to gold and silver because that means the money collapses because the banks, how do they get bailed out? They can't because you can't print the money for them now because it's worthless. So even if you do print the money, you're printing garbage. It's like paper gold or silver. It's not worth anything. But physical is. So eventually physical will win. It always happens that way. So keep that in mind. But that's the thing with the banks, and that's the thing with COMEX. You can't just print fake gold and silver and call it real. So that's why I'm saying times 20. So we got gold at 48, 30 or 40. What I just say. So it's about $96,000 an ounce right now in physical because you only have 1 million tons out there and it's gone. China and Russia have eaten it, but it's the thing you don't know. You don't see Putin's swimming pool full of gold and silver. You probably can't swim in the pool. It's probably covered with gold. It's got gold and silver in it. And the same with China. They got all this gold and silver. So they probably have 75% of the physical in their possession. And they're doing gold-backed currency, which they've already got out there, the unit, and then Russia is supposed to do it in February. So the gold-back's out there. Trump's sitting there trying to go to war with these people because of that. And they're all sitting there going, like Russia, well, we'll try to get them to go broke. Well, you can't. They got gold. China's got gold. They're not going broke. They're the one. You're the one going broke, U.S. You're the one with the. You have money that's not backed by gold, which then allows it to be printed, as I was explaining earlier. So to wrap up, the gold standard, you're supposed to have for every dollar you have, it's got to be backed by gold. So if you have $1 trillion in gold, you can print $1 trillion in cash. And the idea is that we don't all need to walk around with gold coins. I love when the waitress asks me that. So what, are we all going to have gold coins in our pocket? I go, no. What do you think happened in the 1800s? We were on the gold standard from 1814 or maybe 1800 to 1914, and we didn't have any problem because you do have the gold, but you have dollars. Right? You watch one of these Clint Eastwood movies for a few dollars more. Yeah, they get paid in dollars. You see the dollars, but they're backed by gold. They're gold certificates. So that's what you do is you just print the dollars for all the gold you have. So the gold is in the bank, and if you want gold, you can go to the bank and say, "Here's $1,000. Give me $1,000 worth of gold." But it keeps prices cheap because the reason prices go up is the dollar gets inflated. You need more dollars to buy it because you're printing too much. And that's what destroys it. And that's what we have. This was a no-brainer. If I had my master's in 1972 versus 1995, I'd have like thousands of ounces of gold because at $35 an ounce, I would have been just, lumbering in it. It's unfortunate my dad didn't buy me mantle cards when I was born in 59. That's what he should have. That's what a good father would have done. I knew Bobby Orr was going to be good. I remember he was in the 66 and I wanted Bobby Orr cars. But by the time I was like 7, 8 years old, I'd go to the drugstore and put my nickel in and pull out the cards. I always hoped I got a Bobby Orr, but then again, I didn't know what I know now because I have my master's. So I hope you like my new introduction. It basically just brings in the economics into it, and it explains I can't do all trend analysis. I think I forgot to say free pick, but everybody knows me by now. Uh, anyway, I did see Daria on today. I happened to go on to leave her a message, and I saw that she was online, but she didn't read my stuff. So I don't know if she was able to get on Telegram or not, but I did see her online, which was good. And I did talk to Alyssa today. I brought her some candy and cigarettes and stuff. She's still in holding, but we'll get into that another time. So I should hopefully see her on when I move in. Anyway, that's it. That's the girls. And that's it. It's cold here today. I needed a coat. I'm pretty much packed. Like I said, I got my spices, my pots and pans, everything's set up. The lease officially was approved today. Even though it was approved, I got it last week and I filled it out. And you had to initial and sign, looking for lead and no animals and all the bullshit. Whatever. It's not like there's anybody there to witness it. The main office isn't even on site. It's at a different apartment. And basically there's nobody there. So I guess it's the neighbors calling up complaining would be the only thing I get. So I'm pretty friendly to my neighbors, except for the idiot who lived here. He was terrible. But that's what you get. And outside of that, I owe a cashier's check on the first, and it'll be $400, well, $350 cheaper. So I'm happy with that. And off you go. So I'm in good shape. I'm excited. And that's about it. So I vacuumed my bedroom. So the only thing I got to do is clean the shower out, but I'm still showering, and pack up my mouthwash, deodorant, and stuff. But I have a box half loaded that I just got to put it in. I'll do that probably on the 30. Well, on the first, I want to use my mouthwash and toothpaste, so I probably will do that early. Go to the thing, get my keys, unpack my car, not even to do anything, just to unpack it, and then come back and load up the car the second time, leaving about 7 boxes for the movers and the table, the couch, and the bed. That's the point of the movers. I can't move them, or I would. But the key is I got to be out the first, because my contract here ends on May 1st. I'm out. And so I've got to be out of there. It doesn't matter. I start on the first. I'm going to get Xfinity. And apparently I don't need a guy to come out to the house. Apparently they mailed you it's one unit, one tower with the modem and the other thing in it, the server and the modem come there, and then they get the server and the modem. That just comes in the mail, and then I'm going to bring my thing. You plug into the wall and you plug into the modem, and then that should work. The TV is different. I'll just take that, and I think I will need to call to activate. There's probably a call. Anytime you get a new modem in that router, they have to turn it on, I think. So I'll call Xfinity for that. But I'm supposed to get instructions on that. And that's really it. All the other utilities are already set. I had to take the modem router back to Spectre and give them my paper, give them my keys and my mailbox key, and say I'm out. And they'll do a check. It's only a $200 security deposit, which I don't know if I'll get back. I got to clean out the fridge, which I'll probably do later this week. But I'm always in it with my fruits and veggies and chicken and everything. And that's it. I'm going to cook up another omelet. I had the worst thing. I went to Coney Island for lunch when I met my friend from Florida. And instead of getting the omelet, I got the skillet. Now, in my universe, I throw my veggies, my mushrooms, onions, chicken, hamburger, whatever, into the frying pan with olive oil. And then I have 3 eggs, and I scramble, I put them up, and then I just pour them over and the whole thing just floods over and cooks like that. Well, that's what I thought I was getting in a skillet, because they say pour the eggs over. And they didn't pour the eggs over. All they did was mostly potatoes, very small amount of meat. It was supposed to be ham, bacon, and whatever. There was very little beef in it. And then they gave me scrambled eggs, which seemed like maybe two. And they put the scrambled eggs on top. They scrambled the eggs and not just put the eggs over and then let it cook. That's how you're supposed to make a skillet, Gordon Ramsay style. So that's what I do. So I'll probably have that, although I don't know what I had, an egg or two. The hash browns were terrible. That's why I really hate eating out. And if I do, it's like, give me a bowl of soup or give me a hamburger or something that you really can't destroy too much. And that's it. My friend from Florida, I didn't recognize him. He was always a little thinner in his hair, but when I saw him today, I said to him, I don't recognize you. I said, I know you recognize me because I never change, but you look different. I would not have noticed you. And I was very stoic. So here's how you be stoic. He came in because his mom died. He goes, you want to go to the funeral? Strange request. And instead of being nice and going, yeah, sure, I'll go. I'll be there for you. I said, no. I don't really want to know. I don't know who your mom is. I don't see you much because you're in Florida. I said, no, I don't want to. I really don't want to go to the funeral. We can meet for lunch Sunday or Monday. So he called today to meet for lunch. But I'm like, who does that? You want to come to my mom's funeral? Maybe if I was a friend of the family's, but I didn't know her. I never met her. So I'm not running to go to a funeral. I thought that was kind of funny. Anyway, so I think that's class. So real quickly, we got Cleveland minus 9.5, the Knicks minus 6.5, Denver minus 7.5, 2 units NBA tonight, starting at 7. So it'll be on soon. And in baseball, we've got St. Louis plus 116. We've got Atlanta minus 160. We got the Cubbies minus 108, and we got Toronto minus 112. Very unusual for me not to take totals, but I'm starting to be much more successful betting the team. I'm betting the pitchers and I'm betting the streaks. So those two variables seem to be working well. And that's what I'm doing. We'll take our last look at our gold. And gold's up to 48.31 and 80.07 silver. Last week, gold was sitting at 48.70, 48.80, and then it comes down. Those are the options that are lowering the price. Nowhere is this based on physical buying or selling. As I said, if I could afford 10,000 tons of gold, which I wish I could, it wouldn't move this price. If I bought 10,000 tons, guess what? Price of gold would be 48.31. Or if I sold 10,000 tons, the price would be 48.31. Silver at 80 is a bargain. It's a steal. Again, there's only 1 million tons, but see, it's the paper, the 76 million tons of fake silver that is in options, that is paper, that they're buying and selling without having the physical. It's totally illegal. It's a Madoff, and that's why the price is low. And if they get to the 1 million tons that there are, you'll see $1,000, $2,000 price, because 80 is based on 76 million tons of silver that 75 million don't exist. So it's just such a bullshit Ponzi scheme. But the people in charge don't do anything about it because JP Morgan is in charge of the government. And this is the biggest thing. The money's worthless. This has no value. And the government's run by the bankers and the defense contractors, and not by politicians who are supposed to represent us, but they're doing anything but that. We got all these wars that are very expensive. Our money will be gone very soon. I know Alligators thinks 2 years. I don't know what Egon was talking about within 10 years, it'll never, it might last 10 years or it won't have a value. The value's already gone. So don't be surprised and go, oh, like the Madoff people. Oh, you mean it wasn't real? You mean 15% was real, but none of the banks could give me 15%? And then I lost my money. Well, you're an idiot if you kept your money in there. It's like now we've pulled our money out of the banks, out of the stock market. So when it collapses, we're not going to be like crying and, oh, I'm so surprised. We're going to be like, yeah, we knew that was going to happen. Oh, and when gold goes to $35,000, we're like, yeah, we knew that was going to happen. So I'm not speculating in gold and silver prices. I'm telling you what's going to happen. It's fact. It's not my guess. It's not, oh, I think it will do it. It's a sure lock that it will do it. It's going to take a while, and then you won't even price it in gold. Gold and silver will not be priced in dollars. When the dollar collapses, it'll be priced in gold and silver. Because it's money, it will have the price. You will use gold and silver to go to the store, and you're going to buy 2 grocery carts full of items with a half ounce of silver. That'll be all the prices will come way down because they're priced in dollars now. They will be priced in gold and silver. And this is very limited. There's only 1 million tons of this, not 76 million. And when you do that, when you start pricing, but that's in the whole world. That's China, Russia, India, Singapore, Hong Kong, Dubai, Saudi Arabia. That's the whole world, 1 million tons. So that's not a lot for the whole world. Yeah, in the U.S. maybe, but no, that's not, China's buying it like shit through a goose, and Russia, Putin, his swimming pool, he's got a gold train, he's got a gold house. I love that guy. He's a winner there. And he's not the reason for the war. Trump is, and MI6 and James Bond. They're the reason for the war. They want Russia to go bankrupt, but it's backfiring because the U.S. is invading every country in the planet and they're going bankrupt because it's very expensive, all the shells and feeding the men and the boats and the planes and everything you need. It's very expensive. The missiles, it's very expensive. So that's the problem. So we're broke basically. So don't be surprised when we're broke. We got almost a $40 trillion debt. So don't act like I can't believe we went broke. Well, yeah. What if you owed $1 trillion on your credit cards? You're broke. You can't afford that. They cannot afford a $40 trillion debt. No way. No, they can't afford the interest. So what the fuck? Their interest is almost going to be $2 trillion soon. Interest rates will not go down, and that has no bearing on anything. Interest rates do not affect inflation. They might affect prices, but they do not affect inflation, which is money printing. So put the interest rate at 10%, it doesn't do anything. It slows the economy because everything's more expensive, but it doesn't do anything with inflation. Your money's still worth nothing. You can make a 5% interest rate or a 50% interest rate. You still printed 200 trillion tons of money, and it's still worthless. You haven't done anything with that. I mean, ask the Romans, the French, the British, the Amsterdammers, the Dutch East India Company. Ask all them. They couldn't reverse it. Once you print it all out, it's gone. You're fucked. Otherwise, wouldn't Britain have come out with new currency that was backed by gold? But they're too stupid to. And the same thing with France. Why isn't their French franc backed by gold? They don't have any gold. It kind of helps to have the gold. U.S., why don't we have a dollar backed by gold? We don't have any gold. If we did, we would take it out and back it by gold. We don't. And all these wars are ways to keep you not thinking about gold, Fort Knox, anything else, even this Ukraine war. Now, what do you think about is Iran? You're thinking about the war, not the inflation. And then you'll blame the Russians. Well, look at Trump wants to say he won in Iran. He didn't win. We're getting killed there. But it's Trump. He won. Anyway, That's it. Sorry for the late show. I'll take off that earlier one. I don't want people to, because I covered most of it. It was on Gold Standard, and I started talking about the baseball. But since I covered it all here, I will take that out. Usually, when I do two shows, normally the second show does it, but occasionally I lose it. Notice I'm not having the internet problems, and I take that. And, if it's an hour and then an hour, then watch both of them. But if it's like 20 minutes, pretty much you can watch the second one, but there is times you can watch the first. I will be doing the NFL draft on Friday, Saturday. I think we went over a lot here as far as just grab anybody on Miami's defense, Indiana's defense, and Ohio State's defense, and Texas Tech, and you're probably going to have the number one defense in the league. Where we used to go to Georgia for our defense, we are now going to Miami, Texas Tech, Ohio State, and Indiana obviously must have a good defense if they won the title and beat Ohio State and then beat a very good Miami team. Carson Beck wasn't the greatest. Quarterback-wise, Devin Dampier and Daggio. I would draft Daggio in a heartbeat. So keep that in mind. And I think that's it. So I'll be on normal time tomorrow. I had to run and give Alyssa some more candy and cigarettes and stuff. She's not available to go get it. And so I went there for her. And I met my friends from Florida. They live in Orlando, probably near Bobby. He works for the Department of Defense, so I always tease him, making any tanks. Why is there the Department of Defense and the military-industrial complex? Why aren't you part of that? Why are there two things? Anyway, so that's it. So have a wonderful day, www.teaserking.com. We got, looks like basketball on tonight. Good luck on the games if you're betting them. At this point, these are small bets. Now, if a team goes the 2-0s, we'll be looking at betting back. The team that's down to, like Toronto, I can see taking if they go down 2-0. Maybe Minnesota can get a win against Denver. It's not going to be pretty, but these teams are so much better. The San Antonios, the Oklahomas, the Denvers, the Bostons, the Clevelands are so much better than the other teams. Detroit, I don't know if they can win a game. Yeah, they got Richie Cunningham, but outside of that, they don't have anything. Orlando, they brought back Vonnegut from Michigan, who's been injured all year, and a couple other guys, and all of a sudden they're the number one seed. Boston's the one. They're probably the 2 seed. And here are the Pistons, probably the 8 seed, and they're seeded 1, and they got blown out on their home court, but all the other 1 and 2 seeds won by 20. So it's crazy. So anyway, keep that in mind, and we'll get to that. All right. Any other questions, comments, boys, girls, whoever's out there? All right. Enjoy your night, www.teaserking.com. And off we go. And like I say, this is a class, but you can just treat it as if you're sitting in class in your master's program. And that's what this is. This is a master's class because I got my master's and I'm teaching you what I learned. So very unique that you can get this kind of coverage. All right, www.teaserking.com. Enjoy your night, and I'll see you tomorrow.